Hi guys, it's Silas for Kit Guru, and today we're checking out Corsair's brand new RGB version of their K68 mechanical keyboard. So let's cover the basics. Corsair's K68 keyboard originally released as one of their more ultra durable mechanical keyboards with an IP32 rating and has recently been re-released with RGB single key illumination. The board I received features Cherry MX red key switches for a good balance of both gaming and typing, and comes with a host of other features as well. The board also comes with a soft touch plastic detachable wrist rest, standard rubber USB 2.0 cable, media keys including all the expected play, pause, volume control, etc., Windows key lock and brightness control, and height adjustable rubber coated feet. All of these features included add up to a £119 RRP for UK customers. In the box you get a detachable wrist rest, the warranty information and K68 RGB manual, which is a pretty useful reference if you're satisfied with simple colour changing effects without delving into the software. As I mentioned, this new version of the K68 by Corsair adds individual backlit key illumination, completely RGB across the board. However, the true standout feature is its anti-dust and water repellency with that IP32 rating, and where that is similar to the original K68 can actually be found sitting underneath the keycaps themselves. Each switch is covered with a rubber sleeve designed to divert dust and water away from the PCB, and this is a smart and understandable improvement compared to most traditional mechanical keyboards, as with the keycaps acting as little umbrellas themselves, there is very little chance of liquids damaging the electronics of the board as the rubber sleeve diverts spillage away from the keycaps. The IP32 rating protects the board from water spray less than 15 degrees from vertical, and is more designed for protecting it from water spray and drink spills than, say, full water submersion. There are drainage ports on the base of the board, however on first glance there doesn't appear to be any space for liquids to drain away around the keycap. I checked this by dripping water around the keys and found that it just kind of sat there and would likely sit pooled within the key wells until you remove the keycaps and give the board a full clean. This isn't a deal breaker, but it does beg the question, shouldn't Corsair's most durable keyboard be more efficient at helping with draining? And also, as the quickest means of cleaning up spills seems to require a keycap puller, including one would have been a nice touch. It's a shame that this isn't included and present when it is so with much cheaper mechanical keyboards that I've come across. The board, although predominantly plastic in construction, does feel very solid, and I was impressed by the minimal flex apparent when purposely trying to stretch the board. It is also relatively weighty, and this combined with grippy rubber feet shouldn't have the board sliding around on your desktop. It also feels well built, and from a construction perspective, definitely worth the £119 more premium price point. The cable, however, is lacking braiding, which would have also been nice to see when Corsair referenced the ultra durable nature of the keyboard. The typing experience feels very solid and responsive with no squeaking or scratching on the longer keystrokes. I adjusted to the typing experience relatively quickly, and although it did feel different from my typically preferred Cherry MX Brown switches, I actually found myself typing efficiently and not really missing the switches I had become accustomed to over the years. Most users who typically prefer a Cherry MX Red switch will find the experience very similar to keyboards that they've used in the past. The included detachable wrist rest also helped me become better adjusted quicker and added to the ergonomics and comfort when attached. A very nice inclusion. The lighting cue software is an absolute revelation, and for me the first instance I've come across of actually using the full-scale customizations that the cue software offers. For those who haven't tried it, there is more flexibility to configure macro controls, both with keyboard and mouse, full and individual key lighting, and you can also action sound files. From the outset, the freedom to control all of this is pretty daunting due to the sheer scale with which you can customize the K68. Corsair has absolutely nailed the software, and although there is a bit of a learning curve, it is incredibly satisfying layering different effects or even building in little novelties. Alternatively, you can download profiles directly from Corsair or other users' configured profiles from Corsair's forums. Loading these profiles was effortless, and as you can easily check out how they have been assembled, learning how to build your own using similar effects becomes much easier. The lighting works in layers, which can be saved individually, customized to different specific effects like ripple and wave, and you can also use the advanced lighting mode that lets you add in opacities and timings. All of these layered effects can add up to create some pretty diverse and really interesting lighting profiles. The options for creating macros are just as advanced and will have you completely covered for all standard keyboard inputs, as well as options for triggering mouse movements as well. I can see this being used a lot for practicality and productivity applications, and I could definitely see myself making use of this functionality more for increasing day-to-day efficiency, given more time to properly set this board up for my specific preferences. Now, if you want to experience the in-depth lighting controls straight out of the box and don't want to spend too much time configuring your own profiles, downloading one and importing it couldn't be simpler. When testing, I picked up a great profile called Super Saiyan, which pleasingly plays the Super Saiyan power-up sound file from Dragon Ball Z when you press the scroll lock. Coming across from more budget-oriented RGB keyboards, you certainly appreciate the more premium software experience with none of the bugginess and clunkiness of some other manufacturers' software suites. Now, the one downside to all of these lighting profiles is the lack of on-keyboard storage for the K68, which does make it a little bit trickier, say, transporting the board to a friend's house to show off all of your newly created and generated lighting profiles. This also makes it a little bit tricky if you tend to take your keyboard and mouse with you when you travel. The only solution to this would be actively backing up all of these Corsair profiles to a USB pen and taking this with you, plugging it in, downloading the Q software on every new computer that you come across in order to enable these lighting and macro profiles. Now, it would have been nice to see this as a function of the board, being able to bake these profiles into the board to make it a little bit more convenient when removing from your computer and taking to another one. However, I can only see this being an irritation for a very few number of users, most being satisfied with the inbuilt lighting effects when you're traveling with the board, making use of those rather than necessarily your custom created profiles. So the K68 RGB is, as its predecessor, a very solid, well-built, water and dust resistant keyboard with Cherry MX red switches. It also includes probably one of the most comprehensive lighting systems of any RGB keyboard that I've ever come across. The added value of the media control keys is also a welcome addition at the £119 price point, and it's a very compelling option when you consider the flexibility of the RGB illumination, and brilliant for users who really want to be going crazy with those lighting effects. It is also worth noting that it's Corsair's lowest priced option when considering it comes with mechanical key switches and full RGB illumination. The liquid and dust protection does also seem to live up to Corsair's claims, and I couldn't really see anybody complaining about the added durability when investing in a new keyboard. The lack of drainage does seem a little bit strange to me, but the rubber membrane does seem to keep water away from the keycaps and keep the board intact regardless. So the new K68 does seem to be a really good option for those looking for more ultra durable or more significantly durable keyboards. However, there are a couple of other things to consider from Corsair's lineup. Stretching your budget by an extra £20 or £30 actually brings you into the realm of Corsair's K70 Luxe RGB keyboard, which from a durability standpoint doesn't come with the benefit of the rubber membrane over the key switches, but does actually add an aluminium frame and braided cable as well. Also included with the K70 are interchangeable mechanical keycaps, a volume scroll wheel rather than volume control buttons, and it also comes with USB pass-through, which is also one of my personal preferences. Now, swapping to the K70 I guess is a little bit subjective. For me, you'd be sacrificing the IP32 water and dust resistant rating, but personally things like the USB pass-through and that volume scroll wheel, especially with macro options, would make it a little bit tricky to decide between the two, especially for just a difference of about £20 or £30. Now, that being said, all the gripes that I have are incredibly minor and wouldn't really kind of come into play for most end users. And what Corsair brings to the table with the K68 is an incredibly solid, well-priced mechanical keyboard with brilliant RGB illumination, and for £119 it's definitely one of the ones to consider. So let us know what you think of the new K68 RGB from Corsair in the comments below, or even if there are any more competitive boards or boards that offer similar feature sets or better feature sets for the existing price point. We would be interested to see what your thoughts and comments are on Corsair's offering with their K68. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, and for future updates from Kit Guru and more video releases, feel free to hit the subscribe button to be notified when new videos go live. So once again, my name has been Silas for Kit Guru. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.